Lights, camera, Disney World rides. Today we're finding ways to shorten wait times and unlock special ride features and improve attraction experiences all throughout Disney's Hollywood Studios, aka the Mecca of Disney World thrill rides. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, so grab your popcorn, recline your seat, and dim the lights, because today's video is going to be a good one. No spoilers if you've already seen it and you're showing it to your friends, okay? Okay. Because Hollywood Studios is so well known for its state-of-the-art rides, we're here to make sure that you not only get to ride all these attractions, but you get to experience them in the best way possible. We've got some ride hacks for you that really work. Let's get to it. Nothing against Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, of course. We love that ride and you should totally go on it at some point during your Hollywood Studios day. But if you're planning on getting to Hollywood Studios at rope drop, which is right when the park opens, or getting there for early theme park entry, which is a 30-minute head start before park opening, which is available to all Disney hotel guests, then hitting up Runaway Railway first might throw off your groove right from the start. Runaway Railway is going to be that first ride you see. It's right there, situated inside the Grauman's Chinese Theater replica. It's literally in neon lights. For folks who haven't done a lot of pre-research on Hollywood Studios before their visit, or for the guests who've never been to Hollywood Studios before, ever, they're apt to get in line for this ride first because it's the first thing they see. If Hollywood Studios guests are moths, then Runaway Railway is the flame. Guests see this ride, they know it's a ride, they naturally gravitate towards it right from the start. However, Runaway Railway, more often than not, has a pretty consistent wait time all day long. On average, you're looking at 30 to 45 minutes tops. Meanwhile, rides that are more toward the back of the park, like Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Land and Rise of the Resistance and Galaxy's Edge, are the two most popular attractions park-wide. So they're going to rack up some massive waits during the day, especially by early to late afternoon. I'm literally looking at the My Disney Experience app right now at 10 a.m., and the wait time for Runaway Railway is projected to be 40 minutes, while Slinky Dog Dash is 90 minutes. And that's usually how it's going to be. Good thing you're not a moth, right? You know better than to fall for the bright and shiny allure of Runaway Railway off the bat. Instead, you're going to use your early morning lead at one of the two more popular attractions when their lines are more manageable, versus over at Runaway Railway, which you can pretty much ride at any time with the same wait time. Okay, so can I take a crack as to why you clicked on this video? Because I think it's because A, you love DFB. Aw, thanks, we love you too. Or B, you absolutely, without a doubt, 1000% want to prioritize the rides when you're in Disney World. Whatever your reasoning for being here might be, we appreciate you and we understand you and we want to help you. So go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen right now. Or if you're watching this on your phone, head to disneyfoodblog.com/Disney rides after this so we can send you a free guide that'll help make sure you can conquer everything you want to conquer ride-wise throughout all 4 Disney World parks, no matter what. So I just gave you 2 ride options to start your day with, Rise of the Resistance or Slinky Dog Dash. Is there a 100% correct option here? Despite what the title of this point told you, no, not really. However, the team and I tend to gravitate toward Toy Story Land first thing in the morning for a couple of different reasons. Reason number 1, for those who do know that it's best to start off the day with the most popular rides first, I feel like a lot of people tend to choose Rise of the Resistance over Slinky Dog. And while I love Slinky with my entire being, I get that. Rise of the Resistance is state-of-the-art. It's completely immersive. It's multi-component experience. It's completely unique and exciting and jaw-dropping and has 27 different fail points where the ride can completely break down. Meanwhile, Slinky is adorable and the smoothest coaster around, but it's still a junior coaster, so we're not reinventing the wheel here or anything. And that means the crowds are going to split starting off the day. The newbies will go to Runaway Railway, the Disney veterans will file back to Rise of the Resistance, and Slinky Dog is going to fall somewhere in the middle with, fingers crossed, shorter wait times at the start of the day. Reason number 2, if I'm going to choose to wait in line for one of these 2 popular rides, I'm going to choose Rise of the Resistance. Not only does Rise have an indoor queue, but part of the queue is also back-to-back pre-shows, making this one more exciting. Meanwhile, Slinky Dog's queue might be partially covered, but for the most part, you're going to be standing out in the blaring sun while you're waiting for it. Even the covered sections of this queue get to be pretty miserable and sweltering, so getting this ride out of the way first before the afternoon sun attempts to char you is preferable. Now, after you get off Slinky Dog, you can just hop in line for the other 2 Toy Story rides nearby and complete the Toy Story Triumvirate before lunch. Now, I might go with Alien Swirling Saucers first, then Toy Story Mania, not because I like the saucers better, but because the saucers suffer the same queue downfalls that Slinky Dog has. Meanwhile, Toy Story Mania's queue is mostly enclosed and air-conditioned and super cute. Even if you do accomplish Slinky Dog earlier on in the day, if you've got time to perhaps jump in line for it again, or if you're cool with maybe skipping Fantasmic to sneak in another Slinky ride, I will say that Slinky Dog Dash at night is a completely different experience than it is during the day. Not only does it feel way faster, but the track is also lit up with multicolored lights, making it a really cool and unique Toy Story coaster experience. And seeing all of Hollywood Studios in front of you all lit up, Galaxy's Edge, Tower of Terror, it looks very, very cool. So again, different experience, worth riding both times. So nothing earns you more bragging rights quite like getting the highest score in the vehicle during a ride through of Toy Story Mania. I don't think this has ever happened to me, but I believe in you. That's why we've even created shirts inspired by such an esteemed title, which you can find over on dfbstore.com. But if you want to feel worthy of sporting these comfy and stylish tees, then you're going to need some major pointers to help you rack up the points on this ride. So here are the high scoring tips you've been looking for. Spoiler alert! For Game 1, Green Eggs and Ham, this game comes after the practice round. Save your energy during the practice. It's not going to earn you any points, and you're going to need all your arm muscles for this whole Midway Mania experience, especially at the end. So the barn in the background of this game is where you're going to need to focus your attention. The secret is hitting all of the animals, a horse, chicken, and mouse, in the barn and flipping it as many times as possible. Each time you flip the barn, the points on all the other animals in the game go up. For Game 2, Rex and Trixie's Dino Darts, there are tons of balloons to pop in this game, but you really need to focus on the 3 long 50-point lava balloons that fill up in front of the volcano. Pop all 3. A comet will appear on both sides, and this is where you need to work with your partner to hit the comet 3 times and erupt the volcano to unlock tons of clusters of 500-point balloons to pop. For Game 3, Green Army Men Camp. Throughout this game, you'll see a 2,000-point plate pop up on each side of the dirt mountain. Each partner needs to break that plate on their side. Once you do, the mountain in the middle will go away and a tank will appear with even more high-scoring plates. Shoot as many of those as you can. For Game 4, Buzz Lightyear's Flying Tossers. In order to unlock a higher score in this game, you and your partner need to work together to cover all the aliens in the rocket ship at the same time. It's tricky, but we believe in you. I have actually done this alone by myself, so I know you can do it with your partner. The aliens move fast, but once they're all gone, the rocket ship will launch away and reveal a giant robot. Shoot as many rings into the mouth of the robot as possible. For Game 5, Woody's Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' Gallery, there are 2 parts to this game before the finale. In the first game, you'll see bullseyes all over the screen as you move across it. Work with your partner to open up the bullseyes and then close the same ones. Each time you open and close one, the points will go up across the board. The second half of this game involves 4 lanes of falling mine carts. This is where you don't need your partner anymore, so it's your chance to rack up all the points and win it all. This is where you need your arm muscles too. Be sure to hit every minecart that you can before it goes over the mountain, but also keep an eye out for the bats that fall down from the top of the screen over the cars. They'll make the minecarts worth more points. So most of the time, if there's a certain row on a ride that you want to make a request for, cast members should be able to make that happen for you, unless it's like super busy or whatever. It's not always a guarantee, but it's worth asking about if you do have a big preference one way or another. But which seats should you consider requesting in Hollywood Studios? Really depends on the ride. Choose the back if you're more prone to motion sickness and you're about to ride Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. The engineer position will distance you away from the screen, plus your role doesn't require you to be looking at the screen at all times. Just press your button when you see it light up. Choose the back again if you want a more thrilling experience on Rock and Roller Coaster. The high-speed launch and upside-down track are thrilling no matter where you're seated, but the G-force is even more intense when you're in the last row. Maybe you want a better view while riding Slinky Dog Dash. The front row is still fun, but a lot of your view is going to be blocked by Slinky's giant head. However, if you're more geared toward his tail end, you'll be able to see all the colorful toys down below much better. And maybe you want the whole view of Star Tours and Tower of Terror. It's like you're going to the movies. If you sit closer to the screen, you don't get the full picture, but if you sit further back, voila, you can see it all. When you're not squeezing your eyes shut and screaming, that is. Now choose the front if you want to take charge on Smuggler's Run. Sitting at the front of the Millennium Falcon means you're one of the two pilots that'll determine how smoothly or how rocky your flight is going to go. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you owe it to yourself to live out this dream come true at least once. And also choose the front if you don't want a headache at Rock and Roller Coaster. Sitting in the back might be the more intense way to go, but it's also the most jostling for your head. To help cut back on potential headaches and churned stomachs, sit as close to the front of this coaster as possible. And then the rides you want to choose the middle. If you want to see everything on Runaway Railway, the middle is the place to be. Runaway Railway is a trackless dark ride, so everyone tends to have a good view of it. However, if you're sitting in the front car, you'll arrive in each showroom a little too early, and when you're in the back car, you'll get into each showroom a little too late. Sitting in one of the middle seats will give you a nice balance and view of each scene. So let's say you took our advice and went to Toy Story Land first. When should you plan on hitting up the attractions around Galaxy's Edge then? While you're more than welcome to do that anytime during the day, those early and late afternoon crowds in Batuu can feel pretty shoulder to shoulder, which makes sense since this is still the newest land in the park right now and it's also at the back. So a lot of people who start in the front and move to the back, they're all going to get there around mid-afternoon. However, what we've commonly noticed is that the crowds around Galaxy's Edge tend to clear up when the sun starts setting, and it really dies down if you decide to prioritize the rides in Galaxy's Edge versus watching Fantasmic at the end of the night. Plus, Batuu is so cool to see lit up when it gets dark out. The space vibes are immaculate and create the perfect opportunity for some quick lightsaber pics in front of the Millennium Falcon you just piloted. So why have Hondo Ohnaka as your guide on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run when you can have Chewbacca scream at you and Wookiee speak the entire time? We listen and we don't judge. Chewie mode is a secret mode on Smuggler's Run that requires very specific sets of instructions to unlock. Here's how it's done. Before the ride starts, do not activate your position right away. Instead, have the left and right pilots push their controls to the far left or right and far up or down. Once the pilots have done that, they should push their activation button. The engineers and gunners sitting behind the pilots need to hit one of the white buttons on their console before hitting the orange activation button. Once cast members give the clear to launch, you'll start hearing Chewbacca yell at you throughout the entirety of the ride. Priceless. So single rider is one of our go-to ways to skip the thick of select ride lines without having to pay to skip the thick of select ride lines, something we'll cover more in depth later on. And Hollywood Studios has the most single rider line opportunities among all 4 parks at the moment. Rock and Roller Coaster's single rider option has been around the longest, and Smuggler's Run received a single rider option too shortly after its debut in Galaxy's Edge back in 2019. But recently, Rise of the Resistance has been testing a single rider line option as well, which is super nice since that's one of the busiest rides in the entire park. But let's break down the specific pros and cons for using each of these single rider options since none of them is 100% foolproof. Let's start with ROTR. Now, because this single rider option is so new, not as many people know about it yet, and they are still testing it. That means that this single rider line might be the most successful of the 3 when it comes to cutting your wait time down. That being said, the Rise of the Resistance single rider line has some major downfalls. For starters, because it's in the testing phase, it's not necessarily a guarantee that it will be there when you are. So you'll want to be on the lookout for a cast member holding up a single rider queue sign near the attraction's entrance. That will alert you to, yes, it is open and ready for business. And if it is, there's the possibility that the single rider queue will have you bypass either one or both of the 2 pre-show rooms, spitting you straight into the room with all the stormtroopers and missing the scenes with Rey and BB-8 and Admiral Akbar, which are honestly some of the best parts of the entire experience, since they load you up with all the backstory before you get onto the ride. If this is going to be your 9th, 10th, 11th time riding Rise of the Resistance, or if you've only got so much time to be in Hollywood Studios before you need to hop over to a different park, then the single rider option can be a very solid plan B. But you might not want to rely on this one if it's your first time ever experiencing Rise of the Resistance, since it'll potentially have you bypass some of the main pieces of the attraction or even not be existent at all. So definitely think about whether you want to guarantee yourself a ride through in a different way. The Smuggler's Run single rider line is not in testing mode, meaning you're more than likely guaranteed to have this one as an option during your next Galaxy's Edge visit. But what has been in testing mode for this hunk of junk lately is a new double rider option. This works exactly how you'd think it'd work. Instead of potentially bypassing a bulk of the queue all by yourself, you'll get to partner up with a buddy and become a party of 2 that still gets gets to use the single rider line option. If you want to try the double rider line on for size, I'd highly recommend asking the cast member at the front of the attraction first to make sure this is still a viable option during your trip. And much like Rise of the Resistance, the Smuggler's Run queue will also take you past the pre-show with Hondo and Akka. I'd say this is probably less of a downside than skipping the pre-shows for Rise, but seeing the Hondo and Akka animatronic is still pretty cool as long as it's working. So again, single rider might not be your go-to option if this is your first time boarding the Millennium Falcon and you're looking for the full experience. Another thing to point out is that out of the 3 available single rider line options, Smugglers tends to have the shortest regular queue waits, especially toward the end of the day. So if you want to ride this one without breaking up the family, it's totally possible to do without waiting forever in line to do so. On average, Smuggler's Run tends to be a 25 to 45 minute wait if you're using the main queue, which is not too shabby. Now, using single rider also might mean you're forfeiting your chance of becoming one of the 2 Millennium Falcon pilots. Cast members use the single rider line to fill in the available space for that 6-seater ship, which normally means the single rider is going to get placed in one of the engineer positions in the back row, because those are the ones that the riding party doesn't want. And Rock and Roller Coaster. Honesty time. Rock and Roller Coaster's single rider line is way more of a gamble. Not with availability, because it's normally available, but there have been several times when someone on the DFB team has used this potential line skipping strategy only to find out that the single rider wait time was just as high as the normal line wait time. If Rock and Roller Coaster is projecting a super high wait, the gamble may still be worth it for you, but I tend to see the wait for this coaster drop down more toward the end of the night anyways. So you might just want to hang tight and keep checking the My Disney Experience app for when the lines drop down for this one versus breaking up your group and still having a long line to endure. Also, keep in mind that this single rider line isn't going to be around forever, because in the future, Rock and Roller Coaster will be closing for an extended period of time, while Imagineers transform it from an Aerosmith-themed ride into a Muppets-themed ride. We don't have any current word on when Rock and Roller Coaster will start undergoing these changes, but we'll let you know just as soon as we do. And while I say that the single rider line won't be around forever, that's just because it's closing. I imagine they will bring back the single rider line when it reopens as a Muppets ride. Hi there, I don't think I've had the chance to formally introduce myself. I am AJ Wolf, the CEO of the Best Disney Bathrooms. How's it going? To be fair, the restroom I'm about to discuss isn't exactly one that's freely open for the public to use. It's actually more of an if you're in an emergency situation and you gotta go, like right now. If you're in the line for Rise of the Resistance when nature calls, flag down the nearest cast member and let them know you need to use the little intergalactic space traveler's room. If it's available, the cast member should be able to direct you to a set of emergency restrooms backstage. But only do this if you or someone in your group really is in an emergency situation, because this isn't a hack you want to abuse and lose, you know? And I have definitely heard stories of people who have wanted to use the restroom and not been able to use it because it wasn't available or the cast member would not allow it. So they had to get out of line and basically didn't get a return to the line sort of pass thing. So again, this emergency bathroom has been available in the past. If it is definitely an emergency, let a cast member know. It actually happens to be right in the stormtrooper room, but emergency, okay? All right, cool. All right, let's talk lightning lanes for Hollywood Studios. So MultiPass is Disney's pay to skip the ride line service, and it gives you the opportunity to select and pre-select a certain number of lightning lanes for your theme park visit. That's how you're going to bypass the main queues for rides. You get in the lightning lane and it makes you go faster through the line, right? It's like a VIP line. Now, MultiPass prices fluctuate daily, but Disney's resort guests can purchase them 7 days before their hotel check-in, while all other guests purchase them 3 days before. Along with getting MultiPass in advance, you can also choose 3 lightning lanes in advance too. Now, at Hollywood Studios, pre-selected lightning lanes are split up into tiers. I'll go ahead and show you those different tiers on the screen now. As you can see, Hollywood Studios' most popular rides that rack up the longest waits are nestled into that top tier, which is why you can only pre-select one of those ahead of your trip, because there's got to be enough for everybody, right? Right. The reason you don't see Rise of the Resistance on this list is because you have to pay a single pass price to use the lightning lane for that one, which costs an a la carte price per person per ride through. By the way, don't worry about taking notes on all of this. We've got a free lightning lane guide that covers all of this stuff if you want it. Just scan the QR code you see now or head to disneyfoodblog.com/multipass to pick it up. So Out of these tier options, which lightning lanes should you be selecting ahead of your visit? Well, the choice is ultimately up to you. Of course, here's how the main queue wait times on average look for those top tier lightning lane options. Slinky Dog Dash is typically going to be your highest wait, with average queue lines getting up into the 60 to 90 plus minute range. After that, Rock and Roller Coaster's waits also tend to be pretty steep, with most afternoon queues looking to be at a 50 to 75 plus minute wait. And then Runaway Railway and Smuggler's Run tend to be neck and neck, though if I were a betting gal, I'd say that Runaway Railway's lines are often a little bit higher wait more frequently. So if you're able to snag a lightning lane for dear old Slink, I'd highly recommend going for that one first. However, if you're looking for more thrills, then prioritize Rock and Roller Coaster instead. Or on the opposite side of things, if you're traveling with a lot of little ones who aren't tall enough to ride any coasters yet, then you might want to choose Runaway Railway. As far as Tier B lightning lane selections are concerned, your best bet is to select Tower of Terror and Toy Story Mania. There's no real comparison game to play here. The shows tend to be pretty easy to access, lightning lanes are not, and rides like Alien Swirling Saucers and Star Tours more often than not have wait times that should be below 30 minutes on an average crowd level day. Meanwhile, Toy Story and Tower of Terror are the only rides on the second tier that actually rack up some sort of wait times, making their lightning lanes worth it. After you scan in for your first lightning lane of the day during your park visit, you can immediately, like literally as soon as you walk up and stand behind the person that's ahead of you in line, select another lightning lane to hold on to. You don't have to ride the actual ride, you just have to scan in for it. And you're allowed to hold 3 lightning lanes at all times. Once you're inside the park, those pre-selection tiers disappear completely. So if you scan in for, say, Toy Story Mania first, you don't have to choose a second tier lightning lane to replace it with. Whatever lightning lanes you come across on the My Disney Experience app after that are free game.
Hey friends, Bria the scriptwriter here. I wanted to pull out this tip that I've personally used with my family, or rather, my dad has used by accident. To this day, I still remember my dad's first time riding Tower of Terror. He was sitting on the far right side of the elevator, and while my mom and my brother and I only had those little handles to the side next to our thighs to grip onto, my dad had a handle that was right next to him, to his right, that he clung onto for dear life with both hands. And I really think that if he didn't have that handle of security to literally latch onto, my brother's arm probably would have had to take one for the team. Sorry, Dad. I'm not going to show everyone your PhotoPass picture because I love you too much, but it is a hoot. If you're nervous about riding Tower of Terror, sitting as close to either the far left or far right side of the elevator will give you a larger handlebar to hold on to. And while it's not going to make the drop any less intense, it might help you feel more secure about the whole experience.
That is such a good point. And let's not forget about the Tower of Terror chicken exit too. If you love the look of Tower of Terror and you want to see that queue line and walk through it with your family, you want to do the pre-show, but you don't want to experience the ride itself, that's fine. You're more than welcome to stay in line with your friends and family and then escape before the ride. Just flag down one of the cast members and they'll take you to the exit, which is, ironically enough, an elevator. Side note, most Disney World rides have a chicken exit. A cast member is never going to force you to ride something you're not comfortable riding, so even if you're having second thoughts leading right up to the moment you're about to step foot into a ride vehicle, just let the cast member know if you'd rather back out and not deal with the additional nerves. This also works, by the way, if you're pregnant or have some other condition that prevents you from riding the ride. You can still walk through the line, you can go right up to the ride vehicle, and then let the cast member know that you need to leave through the exit, and they will show you exactly where to go. Happens all the time. All right, if all the adults in your group want to ride Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, but you've got some younger members of your party who can't or don't want to, then this is a good time to check out Rider Switch. To use Rider Switch, you'll need to talk to the cast member at the entrance of the ride. Let them know you're planning on using Rider Switch so they can scan your Magic Band or your park ticket to get you all set up. Then, the riding will commence, per usual. Group 1 of your party will wait in the normal queue while Group 2 will wait behind with the kids. After Group 1 rides and returns, they'll play a game of tag team, and now it's Group 1's turn to watch the kids while Group 2 gets to go on the ride. Only this time, Group 2 will get to scan their band or card and use the Rider Switch to access the ride's lightning lane to shorten their wait time so they don't have to wait in the whole queue all over again. And just a heads up, Rider Switch isn't just for little kids either. Anyone who can't or doesn't want to ride doesn't need to wait alone while the rest of the group rides. You can use Rider Switch whenever it's most convenient for your group. Aw, what? The show's over already? If you're still comfy in your seat and looking for your next double feature, make sure to check out another one of our Disney World videos next, like our top 10 Disney World rides for 2025, our ultimate guide to Disney's Hollywood Studios in 2025, or any of our other ride hack or hotel or snacks or whatever videos you want about Disney World or Disneyland or Universal, whatever you're interested in. Believe me, we make a lot of videos. And don't forget to download our free guide that'll help you ride literally everything in Disney World over at disneyfoodblog.com/Disney rides. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.